Let me start by give you a brief introduction into COTRI, China Outbound Tourism Research Institute. So we are one of the world's leading independent research institutes for the Chinese outbound tourism market, offering consulting, research, quantitative data, and trainings for the development and execution of a successful and sustainable China strategy in the post-virus period for tourism and hospitality service providers and public institutions all over the world. COTRI is since 2004 a privately organized independent institute registered in Hamburg in Germany. It was established by myself, the CEO of COTRI, and my name is Wolfgang Georg Alt. Very briefly about myself, I've been working on Chinese outbound tourism for 4 decades now. My first visit to China was back in 1978, and I've been working as a tour operator, bringing Chinese to Europe in the 1990s. And 2002, I became a professor for international tourism management. And in 2004, to keep the knowledge available about China tourism, I started the COTRI China Outbound Tourism Research Institute. In the meantime, as you can see, I collected a couple of hats and are connected now with many organizations around the world, always talking about the topic of China outbound tourism. First of all, the good news: the appetite for travel is likely to rebound in China. And this is not us saying that this is actually the result of a report from the China Tourism Academy in Beijing from last November, and saying that outbound tourism won't be affected by COVID-19 in the long run. So the Chinese are eager to travel if possible again. And we can also see that on the left-hand side, even so in 2020, we had just 80 million outbound travels. That for 2021, actually our forecast is already saying that there will be about 100 or close to 100 million outbound trips. And in 2022, we see China outbound tourism at least back to where it was in 2019. The Chinese are traveling again internationally already now. So as you can see on the right-hand side, more than 2 million mainland Chinese traveled to Macau in the last 5 months of the year 2020, because Macau was the only destination where, as a mainland Chinese, you could travel and return to mainland China without having to go into quarantine. And there are more good news. It's not only that the Chinese want to travel, it's also that they will be able to afford it. The Chinese economy has been recovering much faster than all other G20 countries. And the Chinese top decile of society, so the top 10% of society, is certainly still rich enough to travel internationally. So in the last quarter of 2020, GDP growth was 6.5%. And for the whole 2020, China was actually the only G20 country with a positive year-on-year GDP growth of more than 2%, whereas all other G20 countries had negative growth rates. For 2021, China is forecasted to have the second highest GDP growth rate after India. The reasons why Chinese are traveling outbound have not changed. So they want to see the world with their own eyes. They want to sample new experiences. They want to gain social prestige, confirming their status and their self-image. They want to follow their serious leisure interests. They want to follow the examples of their peers and their idols, celebrities. Plus, they are traveling for business, for health, for education, for religion, for shopping, for transporting, and so on. However, relaxation and holidays are reserved for domestic or short-haul trips, not for long-haul trips. Almost all Chinese outbound travelers do not think it makes sense to sit 10 hours in an airplane and then all to do is hanging out on the beach. 2/3 of the Chinese international travelers are eager to start traveling again as soon as the availability of visa, air connections, and trust in the safety of travel and trust in the safety of the destination have been reestablished. So why they are traveling has not changed much, but how most Chinese want to travel outbound in post-pandemic times has changed. So there's an increased interest in nature, in health, in traveling with other family members or with friends in small groups. So traveling with people you know. There is an increased interest in new destinations without too many other Chinese tourists, and therefore an interest in smaller destinations, not necessarily the biggest cities anymore. And there is certainly increased interest in contact with locals, with the local culture, more interest for authenticity and sustainability. In the past, many destinations had mixed experiences with Chinese visitors, as many were attracted by low prices and showed limited interest in the destination and often took no care of the local culture or nature. So the post-virus Chinese outbound travelers want to trust the hosts who need to show their engagement for the Chinese market, for example, accepting Alipay, their knowledge about the needs of and expectations of Chinese travelers, their sympathy for the visitors, their interest in the visitors as individual persons, as well as interest in the Chinese culture they represent. And obviously in the short term, also their strong regime on hygiene and sanitation, so they feel safe. Moreover, the post-virus Chinese outbound travelers want satisfaction, for which the hosts need to step back and think about their products and how it could be changed and storified according to the interest of the Chinese visitors. So a beach is not only a place of recreation, it can also be seen and storified as an educational offer about ecosystems and how they work. A restaurant is a nice place for eating, but it can also be used as a school of behavior at local dinner tables. A hotel is offering a comfortable bed, but you can have in the lobby or in some floor a place where you can try out new technology. A theme park is to have fun, but it can also be used to learn. And obviously, you want to be friendly to all your visitors, but maybe you can manage to be a little bit extra friendly to the Chinese because they're anxious that they are not treated as well as the others. And you can stop thinking of the Chinese as the Chinese and realize that they are individual persons, and the Mr. Wang and the Mrs. Li in front of you are single persons and may be different from each other, and will be very happy if you acknowledge that. So the new wave of Chinese international travelers offers the opportunity to attract visitors with the right products and the right services who stay longer and spend more if, and that's the big if, they are offered bespoke products. Many, especially off the beaten track destinations, have suffered a similar fate in the years before the pandemic. Chinese international travelers discovered a new hot destination, flooded the infrastructure in the form of large groups, paying as little as possible, staying just for a few days, and eager to do as much sightseeing and shopping as possible. Generally speaking, Chinese outbound travelers do not come back for a second visit, even if they are satisfied with your offers. They just started to travel a few years ago, and there's still a long bucket list to tick off. If they are satisfied, they will recommend the destination, however, to their peers. So in many cases, as the products were not adapted to the needs of the Chinese customers and few special interest programs offered, satisfaction was not always achieved. And after a few years, the next destination took over as hot and arrival numbers started to decline. So what we need is a new approach to a sustainable Chinese outbound tourism, which is a challenge and an opportunity at the same time. So we certainly do not want to go back to 2019. That's where Advantage Tourism Program kicks in. Advantage Tourism Recovery and Resilience Program provides answers about how to react after the pandemic to the challenges which already existed before and have not gone away, like climate change, over-tourism, seasonality, quantitative growth without sufficient management, and concentration on marketing instead of concentration on hospitality and quality. Advantage Tourism supports destinations in attracting Chinese outbound travelers who are more interested in the local culture and the local nature by developing focused special interest offers. So concentrating on training and empowerment of the local stakeholders instead of on spending big amounts on uncontrollable Chinese social media marketing. Furthermore, concentrating on more satisfied Chinese guests who will turn into ambassadors of the destination or the service and the service provider by recommending them to their peers on WeChat with live streams and so on. So a new tourism paradigm is needed, and you can see here the triangle we built, which is based on the start that you have to see what you have and what you can offer. So obviously you can't offer mountain climbing on the Maldives, and you can't offer ocean experience in Mongolia. So on the left-hand side, you can see the knowledge part. So learn and understand about the source market, adapt your products, and then have, as a result, the KPI in trust. So how much are the Chinese feel welcome and safe as a stranger, especially as a Chinese. And on the right-hand side, you can see that based on the services that can be offered, you also better look up more of the developments with IT and AI so that you can use big data and information and communication technology for digitalization, which also helps to move from the trust level even to the embeddedness level, where you have what is called a kinship economy, where everybody feels responsible because everybody feels somehow part of the family. Leading to the top of the pyramid, measuring satisfaction. And that's not only satisfaction of guests, but also of the staff, of the locals, of the company, and of the environment. Let me finish by quoting the CEO of PATA, Dr. Mario Hardy, who said in an interview with AGB at the beginning of February 2021, "The future of tourism will depend more on length of stay and visitor satisfaction than on a generic and simple headcount of arrivals. Metrics that track such indicators will possibly become a new standard for determining tourism potential and performance in what is likely to continue being a volatile world. Thank you for your attention, and please read the COTRI Weekly free of charge every week. Please subscribe. Make use of our online training program, CTT China Tourism Training in the edition 2021. And of course, use Advantage Tourism, the Recovery and Resilience Program, for a sustainable and successful restart of your relation with the Chinese outbound market. Thank you, and I hope we can help you to create a successful, sustainable business with the Chinese market.